I'm going to read you a few words from the CEA's address that really stand out, wherein he's saying growth is good, outlook is favorable, inflation is contained, and more importantly, external liabilities are low. We've been talking about the ever changing geopolitical situation and the scenario worldwide. Talk to us about how much of a dent, if at all, that could create to our economic projection, because the outlook from the survey, what we're getting right now, is quite optimistic.
Certainly, I think it goes back to what we had discussed earlier, which is that there are two main engines that essentially growth is coming from for most of the EM economies. That would be the external sector and the domestic sector. Now, traditionally, domestic sectors have certainly domestic drivers have been very important for India's play, and I think what we have seen in the past year and a half is that what used to be a completely supply-driven push, more infrastructure, manufacturing sector support, providing more, taking these steps towards better governance. Add to that has been a push towards also putting more money in the hands of people, tax rationalization. Now, we should remember that this does come with a literal cost, right? In fact, the gross tax revenue growth has been slowing down for the past 3-4 years. And part of that has also been because of these tax rationalization measures. But nonetheless, there is a shift within how the government is also responding to it. Started off with supply, now with supply and demand, where they're taking action. And I think going back to your question, certainly so that is where the mix will be when we look at the 6.8, 7.2% number as well. And add to this, interestingly, the potential growth also seems to be, according to the report, closer to 7% at this point. This was, if I remember correctly, it pegged at about 6.5% 3-4 years back. So the survey also seems to suggest that despite what's happening globally, domestically, there is enough, I would say, momentum to take growth even higher. So one of the things that will might not be in the, at least in the calculation technical basis, is inflation. Now, one of very low deflators were a very important reason why nominal real GDP growth looked very good in fiscal 26. That will kind of fade off going into fiscal 27, which essentially means that GDP deflators will become larger, probably in the 3.5-4%, where then naturally it brings down the growth level. Now, all this said, a lot of discussion on these numbers. End of February, we might be dealing with probably a different set of numbers because the revised numbers will be available. And when those are in, we might see some sectors that have fared better than what these numbers seem to suggest. So net, I would still maintain that there is a change in the playbook, and that playbook is more domestic growth oriented. It's always been an important driver, but I think strengthening it now has been given a lot more importance. Just like the other panelists mentioned, the budget might not carry any big bazooka reforms, but I think off late we've also seen that a lot of announcements are happening outside the budget as well. So from that point of view, I think it will lay the ground, about where the ambitious goals are and what small tweaks can be done towards it. But a lot more action beyond the budget could also happen to get us there. But I think I do hope that the assumption overall in the math is that external trade does contribute, but does not contribute in a very big way. Because even the FTA that has been signed, all of that will only kick in 1 year from now. So we will see material benefits, if any, thereafter.
Aditi, would you reckon that